I think real spiritual masters always tend to try to bring people back into the present moment, because it's like, I know when shit goes wrong in my life, I know why it went wrong. People can get lost. People can start blaming their karma or where they're at right now in past lives, and it puts them in this place of stupid hopelessness, and they don't do the things they need to do right now to get to a better place. Here's what you have to do. This is my new theory. Identify the vampire in your life. Find the vampire. Identify the parasite.
Well, it doesn't have to be that you have parasites in life. It is possible that you could have gotten lucky and there's no parasites,
sure,
and you get off groovy.
Sure, no, I'm not saying everyone's got one.
But if you got one.
If you're walking around with those fucking vampire blues, you've got the fucking heavy heart, and you can't feel happy and you feel bad, there may be an action that you need to take that you're afraid to take. That's the vampire. And the reason I say vampire is because vampires only go where they're invited. And generally, the situation that you're in, you invited it in. You invited this thing into your life, and now it's sucking your life energy and your blood and your happiness away. Find the life-sucking situation that you're afraid to kill. And a lot of times, you'll try to believe, you'll try to convince yourself that this thing is not a vampire. But in your heart, you know you're a servant to a fucking bloodsucker. You're a Renfeld. This thing is like sucking your life essence away. Sometimes it's doing it with a trade. Quite often there'll be a bad trade. You'll be, whatever the situation you're in, you'll feel like you're in the situation. It's worth it. It's kind of bad, but it's totally worth it. This happens with jobs quite often, where you're like, well, but it's good enough. That's the vampire. How do you kill a vampire? Direct action. You don't kill a vampire by making up with a vampire. You don't kill a vampire by having a sit down talk with a vampire. You're not going to be able to make friends with a vampire. There's two ways to kill a vampire. One, you fucking put a stake in its heart. The other one is light, sunlight, truth, light. It's the greatest metaphor of all time. You shine the light of truth onto the situation, fearlessly analyze it, and then you'll destroy it, because if you really allow yourself
if you can act. The real problem with people is not recognizing the enemy. It's acting on that enemy.
Yeah.
That's the real problem.
That's it.
And that enemy being, personal, your personal demons, your personal jihad.
That's
your
it.
Personal issue.
You got to fight the beast.
Mm-hmm.
And
Yep.
You know what I mean? It's like...
And everybody's beast is different.
Chapter 2 of the Bhagavad Gita, Arjuna's dejection. Arjuna is drawn between these two forces. He does not want to fight. He drops his bow, and God says to him, rise to the fight. Fight. You're a warrior. This is what you're here for. Fight. Fight. It's better to die. It's better to die in a righteous battle than go skulking off into the fucking woods and be a beggar. It's better to fucking do what you do when you're a warrior. You gotta fucking do it, man. Fucking jab a fucking knife into the not literally, of course. Go through it, man. You'll feel better. You'll feel better in the end. You gotta act and you gotta make the big fucking decisions sometimes, and it's scary. If it wasn't scary, it wouldn't be worth anything.
Yeah, for some people, it's almost like they don't know how to start. They know that there's action that they need to take in their life, but they're paralyzed trying to think about it, trying to figure out how to start. And they can never gather up the courage to get away.
It's like
that's why a lot of people stay in abusive relationships. They don't have the courage to leave.
Exactly, because it's scary, and it seems like it. There's so many things that people will ideas people will create. They'll keep you trapped in whatever prison you're in. It's very similar to what you're talking about with these fucking fighters. This is a visual representation of what anyone can do in their life. And maybe not all of us are going to get, obviously, be world-class fighters. They get in a ring in front of the entire planet and fucking knock someone out. But you have in your life right now, if you haven't already done this, you have the chance to be heroic. You have the ability right now to make a heroic act that could kill you. That's the thing. These actions, it's not always guaranteed that because you do the right thing, you're going to end up in a great place. You might end up fucked. You might end up temporarily in a homeless, or you might end up temporarily jobless. If there wasn't risk associated with it, you would have already done it. That's the point. You know, if there wasn't risk associated with it, it wouldn't be worth anything. The Himalayas were, you know, a little grass-covered hill in a park. Nobody would take pictures of them at the top, putting a flag into it. It's the danger makes it heroic, you know? So sometimes you just have to fucking, I sound like Tony Robbins. Take the leap! Kill the vampire in your life!
Kill the vampire in your life is a brilliant speech, dude. You're dead right. You're absolutely dead right. I always say that, you know, the energy vampires that you have in your life are really your number one enemy.